One of the things that in our own implementation of the IDR, and we do it as a service, is the challenge with batching. The benefit of the audience, the idea is that emergency physician services rates are not multiple thousands of dollars per CPT code. So you need to kind of amass a certain volume to create the economics so it makes sense to spend the money to go do this. But it's a very tricky ordeal that I know we always need guidance on, or trying to navigate novel ways to be successful with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially for emergency medicine, I think a few other specialties, perhaps even radiology, it's very tricky. And what ends up happening, and as someone who we provide service here in New York, that is what's called a bifurcated state. So New York is one of 21 states who has a state law that prohibits balance billing. And then obviously we have the federal, No Surprises Act that covers all 50 states, or really the states that don't actually have that specified state law, which New York does. To kind of make this slightly more complicated, the New York law covers, we'll oversimplify and generalize, more the fully insured plans. And that's a small percentage of plans. Most of the plans are self-insured plans, those ERISA plans. So the reason I'm kind of starting with this, the batching rules get very tricky in states, especially like New York, because the batching rules require a variety of factors, including batching by the self-insured plan. And that means if, example only, Aetna is your TPA, but the plan is local school district 123. You can only batch with the, of course, with the other factors, certain time frame, et cetera. You have to make sure that plan sponsor is the same. It's not the TPA, which Aetna, there could be thousands, right? You're talking that local school district 123. That's where you have to batch. So it's very tricky. I think that the departments are aware batching really occurs in name only. It's really difficult to batch. Perhaps you could batch a handful of claims if you're lucky, if you have that volume. But I think the departments recognize there are some limitations with how they define batching. And the proposed rules, they're looking to perhaps expand upon the definition of batching. But again, we haven't seen a final rule there. This is all simply to say batching it's very tricky, and it's created some efficiencies, but it's also created a ton of challenges because it requires a ton of administrative work and savvy to really parse out and batch correctly.
It's definitely something we see as a work in progress.